Welcome to the Blueprint Podcast, where the blueprint to understanding a new and unified world is in our shifting consciousness.
So we're talking about soul wounds, and I think that soul wounds come from all of the processes or the control, the domination factors of how to move through ascension, or how to move into ascension, or how to become someone else, like the transformation process. Soul wounds can happen in that space.
Yeah.
In that space where we think we have to dominate and control the process of transformation instead of just allowing it to happen naturally. Like that for me is a red flag. Like if someone says you have to do it this way, this way, this way, there's new star groups, there's new star seed families, there's new star seed spirits. What the hell? That's just another form of domination and control.
That's the way I see it. Whenever it's like, in order to get to here, you have to do it this way, this way, this way, and this way. That is a way. It's a possibility.
Right.
No one has to align with it. It's like, I'm so on your page with that. It's control and domination.
Well, and so so let's look at the bigger picture here, right? Like,
Okay.
Let's move out of the whole minutia of, okay, so the human has to have a process to well, they believe we have this in our history. We believe we have to have a process in order for transformation to happen, but that leaves out the whole concept of alchemy, being able to change one thing into something else. And we know that that's a possibility here in this universe because we live in a world of extreme dualities, and in dualities you can change instantaneously. As part of the gifts and the beauties of a universe based in such extremities, right? Like the whole concept of that. Soul wounds come, I feel like, when I'm looking at the bigger picture here, soul wounds literally come from these beliefs that we have to do the process, that ascension can't actually happen instantaneously, that we live in a time-space continuum, okay, but it doesn't have to happen over years and years or millennials.
Correct.
Right? I think that's where the soul becomes wounded. Because the soul operates in energies, frequencies, and it can transform instantly. But we hold it back so much through these ideas, concepts of time and space.
And what that does when someone wants you to follow that process that's other than yours and tries to continue there, totally takes away your own creativity. And when your own creativity in how you're going to move forward with your ascension is removed, that's, again, the soul wound. You're stifling yourself.
You know what? I think that this is how that whole belief of we have to ascend as a soul group, as a human race. I think this is the domination control factor, right? That actually has wounded the soul and stopped us from ascension.
From the next step, if you want to call it, the next movement, the next evolutional piece that we have.
Yeah, it keeps us stuck.
Agree.
Keeps us stuck in these processes.
And then we get in that loop. We get in the loop and we do it again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do we get out of this? Or I think we just stop believing in all these damn things. And when we have these like spiny senses, like you call them, when you get that, like that questioning of, wait, what's really happening here? Like that's our clue, right? That's the soul saying, let's not follow that path any longer. Let's just instantly change this stuff. I think that's the ticket. That's the ticket to evolution.
I'm totally in agreement with you. And the thing that I'm hearing to remember is that because you're going to do it a different way, you have your own process, your own creative way in which you're going to evolve. Mm-hmm. You're not saying someone else is doing it wrong. You're not passing judgment. You just know, and you're very clear that within yourself, this is what's accurate for me.
I think if we actually adapted that as a human race, like we'd be so evolved by now that we'd be like, well, we'd be self-actualized. We'd be masters of anything and everything that we wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's where the atrocity lies. If you ask me, is we don't follow our own intuitive knowledge or wisdom.
We always tend to look to someone else,
mm-hmm.
And it's not that on occasion there aren't others that I might, like, I'll ask you, Angela, hey, dealing with this, you have any insight as to maybe why?
Mm-hmm.
And then I can take what you give to me.
Right.
I can see where it sits within my own self, and then I can work with it. So it's not like you totally leave everyone out or everything out, but you're the master of your evolution and what it looks like.
Yeah, there's something here about, I keep getting a message about, look at the soul wounds, look at the wounding of the soul, and how, like, we don't understand, I don't think, we don't have a good enough concept about what that really is. But if we switch that into energies and frequencies, if we look at the entire universe as energies and frequencies, and we're just one of those frequencies within the entire universe, then where has my frequency been distorted or broken or manipulated, taken the long route versus the shortcut? And I think that's how we need to start looking at not necessarily healing, like, because it's all, if we look at those, it's all in the past and they've been experiences of the soul, right? Now, is there something that we can bring into sort of, I don't know, undistort it or create a more cohesive, so that things aren't completely broken apart? Or maybe that is the experience, but the soul, the frequency experience. But instead of thinking that we have to heal that up, what if we saw it as an opportunity? Oh, look, that's where I broke, right? That's where my frequency broke or my energy broke. What can I take from that? Instead of trying to put it back together, which again creates another controlled factor, another pattern, like that we get stuck in, right? Because can you ever really put back a frequency? I don't think so. I think that there's an evolution that happens when something breaks like that, right? Like if your energy or your frequency breaks, I think that that's an evolution instead of a harm, instead of something that has to be healed before you can move on.
And when you ask the question like that, you're not judging yourself. Oftentimes we fall into, well, how could I be so inaccurate or not understand that? It's, we beat ourselves up. That is a pattern for most of humanity, to beat ourselves up and say, well, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. Instead of asking the question, all right, here's my experience. How did I get there with that experience? What have I learned? Where am I going? What do I see? Instead of beating ourselves up, ask the question. Okay, so something happened in your life. Well, don't beat yourself up over it. Why?
Yeah.
You're so good at asking those questions, Angie.
I've become an expert in questioning stuff. Like literally.
You know who to go to and what to ask. I love it. Or where to go in the universe.
Right. So, I think that we need to, when these kinds of processes, we talk about self-actualization a lot, and self-actualization is evolution of your own self. And when we are moving deeper, and as we go deeper and deeper and deeper, because 24, is all about success. 2024, the entire frequency that I can see is about your success. What is it that you need to break from, distort from, change from, transform from, alchemize from, in order for success to become your mainstay? Like literally, that's where we're headed. And that is an evolution for humanity, is to break from those lacking belief systems, the lacking mentality of I'm broken, and how do I fix myself, into no, I'm just successful. All I focus on is success. Right. And so when we're moving into this kind of frequency and energy, instead of looking at your past and playing, I don't know, playing checkers with your patterns and your triggers, and it's like
doing it one more time. Yeah, I'm gonna do it one more
time. Right. Instead of doing that, I think we need to really focus in on, okay, what can I break from here? I mean, because when you break from something, that's a huge opportunity for extreme growth.
Yes.
I mean, extreme growth.
And just recognizing it.
Yeah.
As your first step of like, wow, here I go again. Okay, let's ask some questions. Why is that my pattern?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to get, like you said, you don't have to get all crazy about, going back into the history, but you can ask those questions. And oftentimes that why question is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Or how, maybe not even why. How did I get here?
Well, sometimes the how can be like, how do we do it? And that puts you into a process.
That's true. Yep.
And
then you worry about the how.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I say, let's look at what's the possibility here, right? What's the opportunity here? If I am switching from, I don't know, oppressive lack mentality into success and abundance, and that's what we all want, right? Ascension, whatever it is, whatever word you want to use. If we are moving into that, which we all can feel that in our body, right? We can all feel that. We can all sense it in some way. If we are moving into that, then we have to start looking at possibilities and opportunities. I wrote a post not too long ago on the social medias, and it was about, and I think I said, I'm stopping seeing myself as a healer, and instead I'm looking at myself as, what are the possibilities and opportunities for growth and expansion versus what can we heal for growth and expansion. I think I, and myself included, have gotten that wrong over the past, but maybe we did have to heal up some things. And moving into the future, I'm sure we do have to heal up some things. We have to just change our perspective, is really what happens. It's not like we're actually healing something. We're just changing our perceptions or the way that we see things. And then
sometimes the look back is exactly what we need in order to change the perception.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Or pulling yourself up and out of the emotion of it, and actually seeing it from a different viewpoint. Maybe it's a logical viewpoint, or maybe it's a spiritual viewpoint, or maybe it's a physical viewpoint. We just don't really know until we're in it. But yeah, looking back can be helpful. What I think I'm trying to get to is we have to see the possibility and the opportunity from the experience. Instead of I'm broken or I'm wounded
or I'm a victim, or whatever terminology people want to use. It's always me. We stepping out of that is of the utmost importance, I think. But we don't want to dwell there, and we don't want to stay there. We want to look at, as you said, the opportunities for growth,
right,
and expansion.
And I don't think that that's gaslighting yourself. I think that you need to process your emotions for sure. We all need to process it. We need to process our thoughts. We need to, understand that's understanding yourself at a much deeper level than just where you've been in the pattern, right? Or in the triggers. we're moving into 2024, and I've put it out to everyone that we should have goals. That word goals is a huge trigger for a lot of people.
It is.
And it's like, yeah, I can't use that word. I'm like, well, why don't we dig into the word? It's just a word. What's behind the word? What's the energy, the frequency behind the word that stops you from actually creating the life that you desire? Right? Because that's really where we're going. We're going into, what is it that
we are creating the life that we desire.
Right.
We're
and if you're going to let a word stop you, I'm going to say, let's dive into that.
Totally.
That's where the trigger lies, but what's really been, what is really the root, right?
Yeah.
What's the root of that? Did you disappoint yourself in the past? Have you, are you not someone who follows through on the goals that you set? So then that creates a break between you and the word, right? And so instead of saying, well, I can't use that word, well, okay, if you can't use that word, then what other word can you use?
Exactly.
Desire, they all mean the same thing.
Yeah.
They're all going to have the same frequency, the same energy to it,
Pretty much.
But the wound is going to stop you no matter what word you use.
Yes. Yeah.
And most of the time it's the disappointment in self. Like, can we carry through with that goal? Maybe that goal was never yours in the first place. You took it from somebody else, probably. And made it your own, because we live in a competitive world.
That goes back again to that. That's the emotional component again. Yes. Okay. Yeah. We do work through those emotional components in order to continue in our growth and our expansion.
Right. So I don't think we have wounds, to be honest. I think that we break away from things for our own evolution, but we see it as wounding. We see it as things that we have to heal. But what if we break away from these things on purpose?
What if we're breaking away because we know they no longer serve us? And we've come to that understanding.
Yeah.
And then it's time to expand and create new.
Yeah. I think the problem with humans and the whole concepts of evolution or self-actualization or self-mastery is that we have such deep imprinting in our frequencies, in our energy, that tell us we have to have a process, right? We have to have names for these things. We have to have, I don't know, the phoenix rising out of the dust mentality.
Yep.
And what if that's really what we need to break free from, is this whole, we know we've been talking about new earth concepts. That is breaking free from our past traditions, the things that oppress us, that keep us held down, that keep us separate from each other, separate from ourselves, right? And creating new words, new concepts, new ideas. I think it helps us to open up to some of these possibilities, but it also can hinder us from the possibilities, right? Because we have fear about it. So the concept of new earth or 5D or 13D, whatever it is, what if we just saw it as breaking free from something that no longer serves us and opening up into new opportunities and possibilities? Does that alleviate or take away our fear?
Keep hearing. What's your original blueprint?
Yeah.
That's what we're getting to.
Yeah.
What is my original blueprint? And we've covered up our original blueprint with all this stuff.
Yes.
And it's kind of the erasing, like you erase a whiteboard or whatever. Yeah, that's not on my blueprint. Oh, I can see a little bit of who I actually am. And this is the Blueprint podcast. So the core of it, what is my blueprint?
Yeah.
We all have we have our own blueprint.
Each one of us has a blueprint. Individual blueprint.
It's not like a blueprint for the entire cosmos, whatever you want to say. We each have our own individual blueprint. So coming to the point in time where you can discover what yours is, whoop-de-doo, right?
Yeah.
I think
that's the purpose. Is to really
totally.
Well, and your blueprint is really you understanding your strengths,
which you created.
Exactly. The power that resides in you, right? Like that's the whole self-actualization, self-mastery process is, okay, we diverted and went off the track into our weaknesses, but now what are the strengths?
We're back though. We're coming right back.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
Gone too long.
We have been gone too long. Yeah.
Well, we have.
Yeah.
And I think it's really a wonderful place to be right now. For myself, I'm going to just say, I'm getting clearer and clearer and clearer when I step off.
Yes.
When I dive into something, it's like, no more. No more. So that leads me back into trying. It's not trying. It's getting to my original blueprint, my authentic self.
Yes. That's the whole purpose of, and when you are your authentic self, or your authentic self, there's nothing but success. Right? I mean, that's how we become self-actualized is, diving deep into that. Do we have to heal? Do we have to process before do we get there? Well, we seem to have that in our blueprint, but doesn't mean that that's the only path.
And it's like it doesn't have to take so much. I know time and space is another whole discussion, but I'm going to use the word time. It doesn't have to take this extreme amount of time to get from where you are currently today to being more enlightened and being more aware of what your blueprint is. It doesn't take that. It takes focus, takes extreme focus.
Takes some confidence.
It takes confidence.
It takes listening.
There's a lot of things that it does, but it doesn't have to take 15 years.
No.
So that's what I'd really like people to understand. You move through it as quickly as you are able.
Yes, agree.
As quickly as you can reach the next, I don't even want to say level, but as quickly as you can figure one piece out, you can move to the next one and figure it out. And the next thing you know, you can see pretty much your blueprint.
Yes. And then you're living your blueprint and it's just success.
And
right there.
That's what 2024 is, living your blueprint.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here on the Blueprint podcast today. If you have enjoyed this session, please like, share, subscribe, and leave us a comment. What do you believe is happening with wounds, soul wounds, human wounds, all this healing that we have to do? Or is it simply changing your mind and your thought process and your belief systems into possibilities and opportunities?
Thank you for being with us today. To find out more about Angela, visit her website at www.angelablaha.com.